What's up, everybody? I am live outside the courthouse. We are back at 1:30. He is still not been sentenced yet, if you can believe that. It's kind of a distracting background, isn't it? Oh well. Still hasn't been sentenced yet. 1:30, we're back. They're going to do arguments. The judge asked an estimate on arguments. Prosecutor Alex Bott said 10 minutes. Jose Baez said 20 minutes. And then the judge said he'll issue a ruling shortly after that. So maybe by 2:15 p.m. or so. I think the judge didn't mention this, but he'll also give Lanez a chance to say something. So that'll happen. But obviously he's not going to be talking for more than a minute or so if he does say something. So hopefully by 2:15 or so we should know. Shout out to Andrew from the AP. He just walked behind me, but yeah, everybody's just kind of waiting to see what happens. It started with reopened testimony this morning from Stephanie, blanking on her last name, but she owns the rehab center and she works with Ed Wellborn on cases assessing people who are in jail for criminal defendants for substance abuse issues, that kind of thing. So they reopened her testimony and she talked about how she'd had more conversations with Tory's, I think her first name's Rihanna, the mother of Tory's son, who spoke yesterday. Stephanie spoke with her more last night about any kind of examples of Tory's alcoholism or alcohol being a problem in the past, and had found out about an incident where he had been hospitalized for over intoxication, and then about a time when he was coming back from Europe on a plane and was actually had the shakes from alcohol withdrawals. And so Stephanie talked about that and just about how hearing about those incidents really reiterated that she thinks he has an alcohol problem that led to this crime, and that it's caused by post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety disorder from childhood trauma. Then they moved to have Rihanna, Tory's son's mom, talk again, and that's when prosecutors objected. Alex Bott said that he would object to this, that there's no need for this, basically. And Judge Hereford just said it's a sentencing hearing and that there's a lot of latitude with that. But he also said that he's going to factor this all into his decision. And he did say, that the judge did, that he doesn't think the mental illness issue is a ripe one. I mean, he's not buying into this whole there's a nexus between the crime and a mental illness, which would then warrant him getting probation or a 3-year term. The judge has pretty thoroughly rejected that. I did tweet earlier that we had our first number mentioned by Hereford, and it's about the enhancements and whether he should dismiss one of the enhancements. Apparently there's a directive or a law that says if there are multiple enhancements, he shall dismiss one unless dismissing one would directly harm public safety. So he was putting it on prosecutors to say, shouldn't I do that? You shall dismiss. And he was saying if he dismisses one enhancement, it could get him down to 10 years. So the judge's question to the prosecutors was, is it your argument that if I sentence him to 10 years instead of 13 years, are you arguing that will be like a threat to public safety? And Kathy Taw is the one who responded, and she said they think it warrants the 13-year sentence. But then she got into kind of a tortured explanation of how, well, he's not actually going to do that much time. She mentioned the 85% reduced time, but then just emphasized, the 13 years. Just the argument, the kind of freewheeling in the argument that happens. There's kind of a cringe moment from Alex Bott, because he was making the point about the family trauma, and that this is the first time in this moment that we're hearing about this trauma. And he said that losing your mother is when you're 11 is tough, but he said, and I have the exact quotes in my note, but it's handwritten, it'll take a while to get out, but he said something like, but that's something, losing a mother is something all of us are eventually going to have to deal with. And it was kind of a cringe moment. And Jose Baez was saying, we shouldn't act like somebody losing their mother when they're 11 isn't a unique situation. And he said that Alex's comment was kind of beneath the office, but I just don't think, I'm not sure how much that's going to matter to Judge Hereford. So somebody who probably just came in and asked, why is everyone saying 10 years in the chat? That was the first number that Judge Hereford said. He hasn't indicated anyway what the sentences is going to be, but his question kind of in the last 15 minutes was, if he dismisses an enhancement and it gets it down to 10 years, his question to prosecutors was, are you saying, is your argument that if I just sentence him to 10 years instead of 13, it's a harm to public safety? And prosecutors basically said yes. But to me, it kind of indicates that he might be thinking about doing a 10-year sentence. We might see 10 years instead of 13, but we just don't know. I mean, these are all things that Judge Hereford is probably thinking about, like, right at this moment. So let's see what else happened in there. The only two that we heard more, and I don't want to call it testimony because they were not under oath, but they're giving comments, was Tory's Kai's mother, Tory's ex, Rihanna, who just talked about her experiences with him. And one thing that struck me was they asked Stephanie if she'd gotten any kind of time frames on the Europe trip where he had the shakes and apparently had to be taken off the plane and hospitalized. And then when he was hospitalized for over intoxication, and she said no, that Stephanie, the rehab lady, didn't have any insight into that. So it's definitely going to be today. It's definitely going to be this afternoon. And I'm trying to think what else I should cover. I mean, really, I shouldn't stay on here too long because it's already almost 12:30. They're going to be back by 1:30. You got to get something to eat. But I definitely want to sit down and do a big live. And I'll have an article that comes out with a bunch of quotes in it. So hopefully you guys can all check it out. I'm trying to see if I'm getting any questions in here. I should definitely answer. It's kind of hard to see it like when it comes up, but I'm glad everybody's engaged and in talking and everything. Yeah, I should do a stream with Natalie again for sure. There's so much to talk about. I've got like different podcasts and stuff I'm kind of juggling, but yeah, I think definitely by 2:15 or so we should know something. That's 2:15 Los Angeles. And one thing we haven't heard too much discussion about, we heard this yesterday, was Judge Hereford bringing up what is he apologizing for, or not apologizing, but what is he regretful for, and what is he saying the alcohol caused when he's not saying that he did this. And I imagine we might hear about that a little more this afternoon when the judge actually issues his ruling. I mean, it would be pretty crazy if Hereford did this really long, unusual, like 2-day hearing and then didn't have a pretty expansive ruling, like explaining what he's doing. So somebody asked, will sentencing for sure be today? And yes, I think, I mean, I'm almost a little reluctant to say that, just because who knows how things go around here. But yeah, no, it's going to be today. And Hereford even said, okay, we're approaching the end of this. And that was like at 11:45. And I mean, I feel bad for people because I'm kind of used to just being uncomfortable in court all the time. But especially if you don't go to court all the time, being in there sucks. I mean, and especially that courthouse is such a dump. Like, the bailiffs are mean to us. We're like all being herded around and cattle prodded, and people are just kind of stressed out in there. And it's not boring because of the topic everyone's really interested in, but Hereford is really getting into appellate decisions and that kind of thing. And it's just, I mean, even people who are used to kind of following this all the time are like, it can be a little hard to follow and hard to track, and just gets dull. And I heard a woman in front saying, please don't make us come back at noon. Like, people have things to do. Nobody thought that this was going to be such a long hearing. Well, I kind of did, but as I've said, told you so. But yeah, everybody's kind of giving up in there. Let's see. You talk about the dismissing of the enhancements. It hasn't actually happened yet, but Hereford is looking at something that says if there are multiple enhancements, you shall dismiss one unless doing so would harm public safety. One thing that's kind of concerned me about this whole thing is, I mean, the prosecutors don't seem to be completely prepared for this at all. I mean, they're, I think, kind of just banking on the fact that this is all just bluster and we're just going to get back to a normal sentencing here. But I mean, I thought it was unusual for Hereford to allow all these questioning, and the prosecutors didn't seem very prepared to, counter some of the stuff or that. I mean, maybe it won't really matter, but their overall argument is, I think, could weigh and resonate with Judge Hereford, that we haven't heard anything about this, alcohol use or any kind of indications of trouble until the sentencing hearing, when it becomes when it becomes a problem, or when it becomes necessary for his future. When Kathy mentioned him only serving 85%, is that due to the 9 months he's already served? No, I think the 9 months will be credit for time served, but I think the general number for state sentences is 85%, not counting time served. So time served would be something different there. I'm trying to think if I have anything else here. Really, I should probably get off, but I'll definitely be on tonight later and get everything together for you. Do a big summary of it all. So thanks so much, everyone. One thing I wanted to say: it's a lot of the same people who were in there yesterday. His family. He's got some supporters. The guy from Unite the People that Tory is really involved with, he's sitting in there. But and another reporter pointed it out. They're like, "Hey, is that Rhonda lady who tried to be Tory's lawyer last month?" It is. She's here. It's Rhonda. She's sitting in the courtroom. She hasn't said anything, obviously, because she's not involved in the case. And it's not like Judge Hereford is just going to be like, "Okay, does anyone in the gallery want to say anything?" But she's here. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So yeah, 2:15 p.m., maybe 2:30 or so. But my plan is I probably will just send a tweet right away with the sentence, because that's the big thing. But I want to get a story out to the mailing list as soon as I can. So I'm going to be pre-writing that as much as I can. But stay tuned. I'll keep doing my thing, and keep shaking the bob. And people keep tuning in. And thanks for all your support. To all the haters, where are you, man? I kind of miss the dumb comments you guys leave. Just kidding. See you guys later. Thank you.